Yeah, I was skeptical in mainly along the lines of I've been in sales for a long time. I kind of knew what the normal connect rate is, more skeptical along the lines of if it would actually work, but not skeptical in the value proposition because, like, yeah, if I could connect at a higher rate and identify people I'm most likely to engage over the phone, I believe that that would pan out. But in terms of like, did I finally find the solution that did that? I was definitely a little skeptical on the front end. I was very quickly, it was like in the pilot, I would say, just ran the pilot. The first step was just watching Justin, make the calls, before they gave me the rest of the data. And so that was like the first thing where I was like, okay, I've never seen someone make 3 calls and this get 2 connects like right out of the gate. Then I took my batch for the pilot and handed it to my BDRs who had also been doing this, like I say, every day. They're picking up the phone and calling, and within like 15, 20 minutes, they both came into my office and basically saying that they've had more connects just in that batch. And I think they both got 50 contacts each. So they'd had more contacts in that 50 than they had in the previous like handful of days. And then I also have a dashboard that allowed me to confirm like it wasn't just a one-trick pony. Like over the weeks, it just kept hitting the marks. But yeah, right out of the gate, you hand that to sellers and people that know what it's like to leave 100 voicemails. When they get something different from that, you typically can get a pretty quick reaction from them. Instant. I mean, it was with week of, a couple of days of the calls. I mean, I instantly saw an increase in conversations. And then, but even the byproduct of that was having reps that were actively engaged in conversations. I also saw like a pretty quick improvement on just their readiness to engage over the phone. I saw like a nice increase in our conversion rate in the conversations because they were having much more consistent, conversations. So they weren't like getting caught off guard or getting ready to talk. It's more like second nature now. Been with Titan now, it's going on our second year. I would say last year was like our first, like the last 12 months was like the first like full rolled out 12 months. I had some people testing it prior to that. So over a year, we've been doing that. But before, our connect rate, traditionally, it would take 350 calls per week to have 5 conversations. That was like the math prior. And now with the same 350 calls, like my BDRs are having somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 conversations. I would say a light week would be 15, but for the most part, they're getting to landing between 20 and 30 consistently. So like that's a pretty, I'm in sales, so I'm not great with percentages, but you're going from 350 dials to get 5 conversations to the same amount of dials, resulting in, 6 to 7 times that many conversations. Yeah. So I would say like in terms of the number one metric that I tie directly to outbound prospecting would be discovery calls scheduled. And in our first, like what I would say, like first, like full team ramped up quarter. So that would have been this Q1 where we just had everyone using it. We created as many discovery calls in that quarter. I think we were like 20 less DCs in Q1 than we said in all of 2024. So that's what I connect to the outbound prospecting. Obviously, there's things that, you pipeline is stronger. We've had way more deals in our pipeline than we've ever had. So the increase in conversations also resulted in an increase in DCs, which you assume is going to happen, but at the end of the day, like you also never know. So it's not like we're just having conversations, but those conversations are yielding the discovery calls. And obviously that's what makes it, make the most sense for our business. So if I was speaking with somebody that's on the fence, I would just ask them, how much they believe in their go-to-market plan and their product market fit. Because at the end of the day, I still remember when I was doing it, my concern was, well, what if we have all these conversations and we don't create more DCs? But I mean, at some point, I just was very confident that we have product market fit. We understand who our market is. So, and it was my opportunity of truly making an investment that I had those things right. And that's what led to the DCs. For me, if you believe that the conversations are going to yield pipeline, then in reality, you just have to bet on yourself. I mean, by not betting on this, you're really you're really saying that you don't believe that you have a good product market fit, or you're not able to identify the right contact that you guys need to be engaging with. Because, if those two boxes are checked, then there's no other reason why you wouldn't come up with a way to connect with more of those folks than you are in the status quo. Yeah, well, I mean, we would need a lot more people on our team for sure. But honestly, I think if TitanX, like instantly tomorrow, this goes away, then like immediately, like we're having to rethink through the mathematics of getting the number of DCs we need to hit our numbers. I mean, at the end of the day, we were at that point where you either needed to hire, 2 to 3 more resources to increase our outbound calls, or invest in another area so we can yield more DCs with the same amount of team. So, I mean, right out of the gate, I have to rethink the size of team that I have in place. One word, our phrase, for me, it works. That's it. It just works.